I was born in a small village at that time in Chhattisgarh. My father had a small watch shop in Durg at that time. And since I was very, very mischievous, and me and my younger brother, we would fight a lot and we would kind of trouble everyone. So after the 5th, I was sent to Gwalior in Sindhya school, which is a boarding school, a public school. So from the 6th to the 10th, I was at Sindhya school, Gwalior. So whatever I later on learned in life, and what helped me grow was what I learned there at the Sindhya school. I don't remember a single day, honestly, and this is not to exaggerate, that I wasn't beaten up for something, some misdemeanor or the other. And therefore I would get beaten up virtually every day by either the teachers or the seniors, because I would do something or the other which was not right. And I for my life couldn't figure out what's going wrong with me, what's happening around me. So it was kind of a torturous period, but yes, it helped me in a lot of other ways probably, and made me a very robust kind of a guy who could take anything in life. Honestly, at that age, I guess like every child, you would want to be a pilot at some time, you would want to be an actor at some time. So those kind of things kept cropping up, but they were random, like would happen with every child. I finished my 10th and then I came to Nagpur. I got into Hislop College, so I was there, and 12th was where everything went right and wrong for me, because when I appeared for the 12th board, I was very bad at mathematics. Any kind of numbers, even today I don't figure out numbers at all. So when I appeared for my 12th exam, I got decent enough marks in bio, physics and chemistry, which was good enough to get me into the medical college then. I think the closing was in our time something like 84% or something, and I was well above that in my physics, chemistry, bio. But I flunked maths. So I got 0.9 out of 100 in maths. I couldn't even get into double figures. So then it was back to square one. Everyone told me do 12th again, maybe you score still better in bio and also clear maths. So I did clear maths all right. I did pretty well in maths. I remember some 50 plus marks I got on my own, which is always going to be a surprise to me. How did I manage that? But the rest of the subjects also averaged out. So I was not good enough then to get into either medicine or engineering. So the only option left for me after 12th was and since I didn't want to do anything with numbers, so the only option left was bio. So I did my BSc Biology, Botany, Zoology, Chemistry. I was good at all these subjects, honestly. So I was still not sure what I'm going to do. So after BSc, one of the options that I had thought at time was become a medical representative. That was one of the careers open. But while I was finishing my BSc, someone told me, look, why don't you do MBA? MBA was a very new field then. I'm talking way back in '84. And Nagpur had one MBA college, the Department of Business Management, which is there even today. But apart from that, from Nagpur to Jamshedpur, there was no other MBA college. From Nagpur to right up to Delhi, there was not even an MBA college, probably in Bhopal. From Nagpur to Hyderabad here, and Nagpur to Pune and Mumbai there. So this entire territory was serviced only by this Nagpur MBA college, and it was something like 33 open seats that were there. So it was very difficult getting into the Nagpur MBA then, because the entire Central India, such huge patch, was only Nagpur MBA department. So I didn't manage to get in and finish my MBA. Now again, while finishing my MBA, I still didn't know what I'm going to do. I knew one thing was that I would have to get into marketing, because finance was not my area, HR I was not keen on, so I knew marketing would be the area. In fact, we had campus placements and I did get selected for Seat Tires, if I'm not mistaken, in the marketing team. But then someone told me, why don't you do advertising? So that was the first time in my life I heard the word advertising agency. We were so insulated in a way, because back then there was no internet, no social media, no nothing. So you lived in a well called Nagpur and very little exposure from outside happening here. So I hadn't even heard the term advertising agency till I was virtually halfway through my MBA first year, which was when someone told me, why don't you do advertising? So it sounded interesting, and then he mentioned all those models and all that you see. Oh, I said, yeah, this looks really interesting now. So I found out how I could get into some advertising agency for a summer internship after my first year. So we had no contacts or anything. I just picked up a book of the Indian Newspaper Society, which lists all the advertising agency, from a friend of mine who runs a small newspaper. So from there I picked up all the addresses of the advertising agencies in Delhi. Since I had relatives in Delhi and therefore staying would not be a problem, I couldn't afford going anywhere and staying on my own. So I applied to all the advertising agencies I could get the list of in Delhi for a summer internship program. I got a response from only one agency, and that was a very small agency there in Daryaganj in Delhi called Impact Advertising. and I got my break there. At 350 rupees a month, I was given an internship. So I went there for 1 month ka internship, but I hung around there for about 3-4 months. I loved the work that I was doing so much that I probably was there for 4 months. And just prior to Diwali, I came back and joined the second session of MBA second year. And by then I was very, very clear. Yes, this was the industry I would want to be in. So once I finished my MBA, which was by then I had become good in studies, I don't know why and how. So I did a pretty good job, got in terms of marks, etc. But then again, I didn't have any connects. And advertising is one of those crazy kind of vocations where if you don't know anyone, it's very difficult to get in. So I again just made a bunch of Xeroxes of my resume, about 20-25 odd, picked up that list again, and I used to, in Delhi's heat, I used to walk into every advertising agency, sweat and all, and sit there, wait at the reception to be interviewed, etc. Then I got my first break again at a very small agency in Delhi, Janpath, called Alfred Allen Advertising, and that was at 950 rupees a month. It was only because I had relatives back in Delhi that I could manage to live on that. Even then, that amount was very small. So I worked there for about 6 months, and then I got a first break in a large enough advertising agency, which was Everest Advertising, which was then India's 4th largest advertising agency, which was it had a collaboration with Saatchi and Saatchi Compton Worldwide, which was then the world's #1 agency. So that was my first real big break, and I was given to handle a couple of accounts like Tobu Cycles. I don't know whether you heard of that now or not. That was a children ka cycle, chota sa tricycle, Tobu brand. And Dynora TV, Salora TV, these were the brands that we were handling out of, and I was directly responsible for these brands. I hung there for about a year again, and then I knew again something was happening within me which was telling me very clearly that I was not a job person and I was not a large town person, a metro person again. So it was again becoming very clear to me, I can't survive in this corporate world here, and I can't survive in this large city here. So one day I suddenly came to Nagpur without any intimation to my agency, without anything. I just landed in Nagpur and told my father, look, I don't want to go back.